Hello, hello. Happy 10th of December. We are in double figures. Oh, how quick is this month going? I am still absolutely loving reading all of your comments. Now, these are all of the bits you will need. This is the only thing that is not in today's digital, and that was in a previous digital. So it's just one of the little stars. I've made a bit of an error cutting that. Now, I did this all yesterday because I'm usually filming 2 days ahead. And yesterday I filmed the whole of day 10. It's a little bit more involved than the others. And then I realised when I went to turn the camera off, I hadn't turned it on. So the good thing about that is you won't have to watch all my umming and ahhing and decision making, because I know exactly what this is going to be like. I know exactly. I've got the other one to my left, and I know exactly where everything is going. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Now I'm going to just move my bits off, and apart from these two bits, right, okay, yeah, apart from those two bits, I'm using everything today. I'm going to explain a little. I just want to get all of this out of the way. Okay, so because I've done this, I know exactly what I'm going to use and what I'm not. These two pieces are the only two pieces I'm not going to use today, and these are an option for anybody who isn't or hasn't got the paper dolls. So these two pieces can be used in the place of a paper doll. Now I've mounted these on cardstock. It is a 280 GSM ivory cardstock. It's nothing special, but I've mounted these pieces. I've mounted these two pieces. I've mounted the star, and I've mounted this. This piece I've also mounted, which I didn't mean to, but that's mounted. So these pieces here, I have mounted on the cardstock, and these if you intend to use them. This one I've also mounted, but I want to show you what I'm going to do with that. I've cut it out. I've cut a little corner out. I was just cutting it very roughly so it looked rough. I have mounted this piece, but what I did first was I've rolled that corner and that corner, and then I just folded that corner and a little bit of a fold that corner. So just so it looks a bit rough and ready, really. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink this. So I'm going to take my brush and just give that an ink round to take, again, some of that brightness away. You don't have to, obviously. And then what I'm going to do with the blending brush is just ink where I've rolled or folded, just to give that a bit more of a distressed look. Okay, so that's what I've done with that, and then I've mounted it onto the cardstock, and I've just cut any of the corners off that would show once I've rolled those up. Okay, so far that's where we're at. I'm trying to keep this cardstock over this bright spot, but hopefully my arm will stay in the way. So I'm going to fold my card in half, and this is the only piece I haven't inked so far. So what I did in advance was cut everything and then ink around the pieces. Okay, so they're all mounted and inked. Just saves a lot of time on the video. So on the back here, the first thing I'm going to do is add this. And like I said, you haven't got to watch today all of them me going, I think, I don't know, maybe this one, no, maybe that one. That's all eliminated because I made this yesterday. The good thing about it is my mum is now going to have a ready-made. She's not going to have to make day 10. Unless she wants to, obviously, and of course she still can make day 10. And then I'm going to add this little Christmas day as well. And I'm just going to kind of overlap that but not the writing. Okay, so I've just got that. Now I'm not going to add anything to this side at the moment. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a stitch all the way around this piece, because I don't even have to really glue. I'm going to just put a little bit of glue around the middle. But when you're gluing all the way around the outside, you don't actually have to, when you're sewing all the way around the outside, sorry, you don't really have to glue. You can leave that. Okay, I'm going to do my stitch. So the stitch is done, and in the same as I did the other one, I've done a double stitch line across the top. So now we are ready to add. So I'm going to lay the first layer down. And what I want is this piece, these two pieces that I haven't mounted at all, and I'm just using this as a guide. So this is going to go up in the top left hand corner, and I want these two pieces just slightly overlapped at the corner here. Just glue this piece of measuring tape down first, and I've used the piece with the number 12 on for December. I'm just going to put that roughly where I want it to go. And the same with the little 12th of December. No, 25th of December. What am I talking about? And I'm just going to put that there. So those are in place. Now this piece I'm going to have slightly over here, because as well as knowing exactly where things are going to go, I know where I want little amendments to be in this remake. So I'm going to put him here. Don't know why I called it a him. It's probably not a him at all. Okay. Right. Now this piece and this piece I want to mount with a single piece of cardboard. You know that I don't use sticky pads. I've got so much cardboard, so I use cardboard scraps to mount things, to give things a little bit of a layer. So I'm going to glue this, put that on the back here, and don't forget these are already mounted onto that cardstock. So that's that one, and let's do this one. I was trying to work out if I had enough room in my box to give some things a little bit more dimension, and I did, so that's good. Right, so these two pieces are going to go like so. And I mean, like I said, this was a little bit more involved than some of the others I've done, because I do a couple of more techniques that obviously are optional. You don't have to. Put that one there. It's really nice having, you know, knowing where everything's going to go, not having to do so much decision making on camera, which should make editing a lot easier, because I do take out a lot of the ums. So that's what we've got so far. We've got our little layers. Now, before I add these two pieces, there are a couple of things I'm going to do. Okay, so I'm just going to move these pieces aside for a minute. And on the previous one, I chose a little boy and little girl from the Christmas paper dolls. Now, what I had to do was go through my other paper dolls and find two more that were a similar size that would fit. There weren't any more in the Christmas pack that would work. So I've picked this. I've done a little bit of colorizing on here, and I'm going to show you how I did it. I've had a little play around with this, and I watched the Tim Holtz demo a while ago, so I went back and rewatched that, and he mentions Paula Cheney in his maker section on his website. So I went to her and read her blog, and I've done something more similar to what she did, but I did have a little practice. This one, for example, this was one of my duds from my pack. He's got a little bit of face missing. I used the collage medium on this first because I wasn't having a lot of success with the other method. Now he's got a little bit of green on his shirt, jacket, no, on his waistcoat and trousers, and I've used a red on his coat and hat. Now I'm limited with how many colours will actually work. So on this one that I'm using, he's got brown, he's got a little bit of red and then brown in his jacket. Her dress is a slight pink, and then I've used the red on her shoes, bag and headband. And it doesn't look fabulous, but it looks quite sweet. So I've got my other two duds from my, I mean, look at this poor little girl. Look at her. She's got no face. I am getting new ones. So I'm limited with the colours that actually work for me. So I'm just going to move my board. So I've got my what's this called, you know, Doojemy flip mat under here, and I'm going to show you how I did it very quickly. Obviously I did all of this yesterday in the video, which is not there. Paula uses a flat brush, but I've used this round brush because it's soft and I thought that would work well. I'm going to show you how I colour him first of all. So I used brown, and this is gathered twig. A little bit of water, not a huge amount, and then mix the water in with your distress crayon. Now it doesn't really show up very much on this kind of colouring anyway, but I always have been doing downward strokes to get rid of the bubbles that you might well get. Now you probably cannot see any difference at all other than the fact it looks a little bit wet, but there is a very slight tint to his jacket. You can probably see better there. Maybe his hat will show up better. As long as you're going in one direction, and it's easy if you go over because you can just wipe it off while it's still wet. Now you can dry this with a heat tool, but I have been leaving mine to dry. So the darker colour works over the dark paper dolls. So you can tell he's got a little bit of brown colorizing there. Okay, now this is one of the only other colours that I could get to work. Let me show you the pink. I used this one, which is tea dye. I mean, it's not really pink, is it? But it's pinkish. And again, just put it on there with a little bit of water. This is not the pink I used at all. I completely lied. So I've not used this one yet. It's probably not pink at all. Let's see. Let's see how this goes. That's actually not a bad tint. That's not bad. I think it's one of those things that's going to take a lot of practice. Next thing I'm going to do is a little bit of heat embossing on my star. Where's my... Here it is. So I've got my heat tool, and obviously this is a lot quicker as well because I was, again, umming and ahhing about what I was going to do yesterday. Got a sheet of that cardstock. So this was far from perfect, but what I just need to squeeze that a little bit. I'm just going to go round the outside of my star. And it doesn't matter if I miss bits. It doesn't matter if some has more than others. It's all good. It all works. Okay. That's not too bad. I'm just going to leave my tweezers underneath there so it's easy to pick up in a minute. So I'm going to heat this. Okay, hopefully you can see that. Now I'm going to put that aside because I'm going to put my number 10 on there shortly. And well spotted for those of you that contacted me and said I didn't put a number 8. I didn't put a number 8 on number 8, but I rectified that in today. Number 9. I rectified that in number 9. I noticed as I was going through to put the pieces back. Okay, right, here's our thing. Here's our thing. Where's my people? Here's my people. I'm going to put my paper dolls on next, about here. Okay, they're going to go about here. This is going to go about here. A little bit over her legs, but that's okay. This one doesn't sit quite as well because these dolls are a little bit taller than the ones I tried yesterday. We could, yeah, it's going to go there. And the star is going to go up here. But the first thing I want to do is add my paper dolls. Now, I've cut a couple of pieces of cardstock ready to mount them, but I just need to make sure I get them in the right place. So I'm going to go just below her shoulder level and kind of level with that for him. Now I'm just going to cut a couple of little thin pieces for his legs and then for her legs. And we'll add these. This is going to be trial and error, and I will show you in a second what you can do if you're not using a paper doll. If you're not using these, these are the two alternatives you have instead, and then this would still go on here. You can still do everything with these rather than the paper dolls, but these were your options if you don't have any. Now that's going to stick just on here. Okay, so these are now, they're going to be mounted to the same height as these. Okay, so let's glue, let's just double check because I need to know how much of their heads to glue. I'm going to glue the very tip of her dress. I'm going to glue her head and his shoulders and head, as well as these. So her head, his head and shoulders, these bits here that we are using to mount, and then just the tip of her dress. Okay, so that's the gluing done. Now we have to put them in place. Oh, she just scratched my bum. What's the matter? Okay, so we now have a little bit of dimension. Let me hold it that way, you can probably see it. A little bit of dimension there. Now this is going to go about here, although saying that now it could go a little bit further up. Yeah, I'm going to change it up. I'm going to change it up. So what I want to do is this needs to be a little bit higher. Yeah, this needs to be a little bit higher. So this was initially going to go here, and I was only going to mount it with one piece of cardboard. Because I'm now moving it up here, I've cut a second piece of cardboard. So it's going to be higher. I want it higher than the dolls and the bingo card and the calendar. So I'm going to glue these together. And I've just cut the corners off so they don't show once I've mounted it. I don't know if this is much better than yesterday. I do hope it is. I hope you can understand where I'm going with this. So this will now be higher than those other two pieces. Cool. Right, now I'm going to take my star, and I've got my number 10, or 1 and 0. I'm going to just add these to my star. It's hard to know whether today's video is worse than yesterday's or whether it's better than yesterday's. I hope you're following along okay. So I've got another double mounted piece of cardboard here that I'm going to use to mount my number 10. Glue that into place. And it will sit over that. Cats in a box. Okay, now I'm going to grab one of these tiny little clips and add that there. And then I've got a larger one that I've dyed. This one came from the pound shop and it was gold. So I've added some black and gold alcohol ink. And that is going to go there. That is our day 10. I'm not sure if I like this better or not as good as yesterday's. I'm going to show you yesterday's. There is yesterday's. So... thank you for joining me. The digital will obviously, as always, be in my Facebook group, which means day 10, day 9 and day 8 will be available today. Okay, so let's put it in our box. That one is obviously, I'm going to send that one to my mother. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is now finished. 9 and 10 will be in our box. So we are getting quite a box full now, but it's not halfway. So we still have room for the next 14 that we're going to do. That's why I was just a little bit dubious about doing something a little bit more layered. But we've got space, I think. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. It was very different today than it was when I filmed it yesterday. We'll be back tomorrow with day 11, hopefully. I haven't started the digital for that, so I'm a little bit behind. But it will be there tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.